who are vaccinated. So, from the center,
then Lusaka, the whole nation.
and there are those that have got vaccinated our president, it reduces the infection, severity of infection, and even actually have information. Most of the time, those that are admitted are those that we do. So, and the team that we actually have, Lusaka, we have got 29 facilities that give the vaccine, the prerequisites, and also included the universities also together with the 15 private facilities, including the mobile facilities and also outreach. Even in the markets, we are also there to follow the people. And actually, we also work in the way that we approach public settings, the free ones, with people who are vulnerable and not able to move, we can follow them. That's all.
Right. Thank you for the good work you're doing. Please continue.
Thank you.
Life said.
Thank you.
But it starts with our families. Our families. Leadership, that's the. Good morning. How are you? Good morning. How are you?
So you
What a
can
good
hear.
work you're doing.
So just never. So you have to shift very quickly. This is coming in. Okay, sure.
To provide information to the patient that will offer the various services. And to replace it with paperwork, we need to store data onto systems here so that the patient can access information through one component of the therapy for the population. This can complicate information. If someone goes outside the sample outside any other province,
Yeah, can you just begin up?
and we can compile the information.
Yes. Excuse me? Just
Oh, yeah.
just
Doctors across the country, their education is massive. So, from that,
sorry. The next speaker. Sorry.
right.
Come.
Good morning. Good morning. How are
Morning,
you?
Mr. President.
I was
Welcome to
thinking.
this area.
Yes.
My name is Dr. Vaccine COVID-19. This area we are using is So far we vaccinated over 2,000. And for Lusaka district, we vaccinated over 70,000. So this is a mass spread actually, a single vaccine. We don't have any pretense. And so it's quite an advantage for those who are young. Yes, and then those who want to travel, they don't have to wait to have a second vaccine.
Thank you for the great work you're doing. Please continue. Another second. You failed here, this way failed there. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you for your work. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for the good work you're doing. Yes. Thank you. Markets are very important. Thank you for the good work. So these are operating well. Thank you. This morning,
Maybe we shall see one. Okay, let's open. Let's open.
Thank you very much to you and the team. Great work you did this community. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning.
Yes. So, here, everyone.
We are promoting in order to do with the baby for bonding and also for close bonding. And we are promoting also male involvement. That's why the husband is with the wife. Then, in case things don't go well, we have our second level hospitals and our third level hospitals where we are doing advanced care management. So what we are proposing is in case where we have a mother who has led excessively after delivery, and that is one of the methods that we use to control pregnancy. We check the blood at the
that is connected to the abdomen, so that it goes to the heart, the brain, and the lungs. And we are focusing on this because we are tackling with maternal deaths. And we are hoping more of these need facilities to help us, and also ambulances need facilities with a lot of midwives. Thank you.
So they also have their master taken care of. And also,
Thank you for the good work you're doing. Please continue. Organization and effectiveness. Thank you. We appreciate what you do. Sometimes we don't have to tell you. This is one of the times. Thank you. Good morning.
Where we give to under 5 children and pregnant mothers, those who visit our facilities on daily basis. And then we have even the next that we give for health insurance communities. We have also trained community health volunteers, community active case finding, those that follow the cases that are found to be positive in our facilities and have no travel history. Follow them, we do the testing of the household and the surrounding, and we take those positive cases and then send for treatment. But that we have got IRS, which is the indoor residual strain, meaning that we are targeting the inside of the structures where mosquitoes land after biting people at night. So find that we go there, we apply chemicals on the walls, so that in the evening or at night, when the mosquitoes land on the walls, they will die. We look at as we go for spray.
Good morning, Zimbabwe. Welcome to Zimbabwe Daily. We're coming to you live from Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema is on a relaunch of the COVID-19 vaccination campaign at the Olympic Youth Development Center in Zambia. So he's just going around the different stands that are available on site and just getting information as to the different campaigns and the different efforts that are being made in the medical field. So right now he's at a stand looking at ending malaria, a campaign that continues to run together with the COVID-19 pandemic. The symptoms are almost similar. The treatment, though different, because COVID-19 has a vaccine, also it helps in bringing down cases of malaria in Zambia. As you all know, the season that we're in, malaria cases continue to be on the rise. So there is need to just have that awareness of what needs to be done. Now he walks over to the USAID stand to hear efforts that the USAID are putting in fighting COVID-19. That is what you're seeing there on your screen, coming live from Zambia.
Who's going to present him? Who's going to present him? She's coming here? Someone? So we should create space for her to wait. So go. Yes, from here we're going to the WHO, which is the next one. Yes, yes. So the make that one very brief. Yes, yes.
So in September of 2021, on the 23rd, the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID Administrator Samantha Power announced approximately $18.5 million in additional U.S. government funding to support the people of Zambia, including Zambia's fight against COVID-19. So here we see the president of Zambia on the stand, taking note of the efforts that the USAID is making in Zambia. Just 3 days ago, we learned that Zambia revised downwards its COVID-19 vaccination target from 70% of the population to 30% by December 2021. The Southern African nation has 3.6 million people eligible for vaccination from a population of 80 million. The health minister, Sylvia Masebo, said President Hakainde Hichilema would relaunch the national vaccination program, which is what's happening today. And this campaign is expected to serve as a catch-up campaign and push them closer to their new target. And the cumulative number of doses that have been administered in Zambia comes to 757,241. So we know that Hichilema has pronounced himself around the vaccination program and saying that he was vaccinated and his immediate family against the pandemic. So that relaunch is coming to push the nation to get vaccinated, though their target has gone down from the 70% projected to 30%.
So I think together, hand in hand, we work.
So now he's on a stand. People who are saying, I have been vaccinated, and those that are leading the way in the vaccination campaign. So he's just meeting everybody who is at the Olympic Youth Development Center in Lusaka, who has a stand on COVID-19. So this particular stand where he's at, people are saying we have been vaccinated, and a lot of efforts needs to be made in ensuring that people get vaccinated and life gets back to normal in Zambia.
We are together with you. We will be right behind you as you launch this amazing initiative at every step of the way.
So we need to find out that both
So,
Yes.
yes, I'm proud of it. Thank you.
And there he holds the placard that says, "I got my COVID-19 vaccine." That's President Hakainde, who has said himself and his family has been vaccinated.
I can even do this.
I got my COVID-19 vaccination.
But I hope we have the absorption capacity. Demand. It means that up to. But if that uptake does not reach thank you for allowing me to did well. Remember that. So let's go this side. Let's go on this side.
So please, keep away, stay away from this guy. There's a message here. All of us, let's get there. From this guy.
Okay, no,
So we are going there. Guys, allow your friends to do their work also. These ones. They are here for a purpose. No.
Hello.
Sophie, open up. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Who's gonna talk?
Mr. President, we also we are concerned our channels of communication has been megaphone, food social. Yes.
I don't talk to them.
So, Mr. President, this afternoon I prepared this for the president so that he knows and the services that we give.
Bring.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We are grateful, most appreciated. Standing this is one of the times. Yeah.
Right, guys.
Let's move.
So the president is interacting with other people that have come to the Olympic Youth Development Center in Lusaka, Zambia, as he gets to hear of the efforts that each team is doing in the fight against COVID-19. As you know, the world that we live in has changed because of how COVID-19 came through and caused a lot of nations to shut down. We've been placed on different levels of the lockdown. Zimbabwe has now moved back to level 2. Zambia has revised downwards the number of people within the population of Zambia that has to be inoculated. vaccinated, as earlier on they had indicated that 70% of the population was to be vaccinated. But after seeing the trends, what is going on now, they have lowered their COVID-19 vaccination target to just about 30% by December of 2021. And this was announced by the health minister, Sylvia Masebo, and the relaunching of the national vaccination campaign is on today at the Olympic Youth Development Center in Lusaka. So he's meeting with medical practitioners, nurses, different organizations like the USAID that have put up exhibition stands at the Youth Development Center, and continues to hold these interactions so that he really understands what is going on within the medical field right there in Zambia. So you are watching this live relaunch of COVID-19 vaccination campaign at the Olympic Youth Development Center in Lusaka, Zambia. We have seen him going from stand to stand and understanding what efforts are being put in place by different people and different organizations right there in Zambia. So we are following proceedings right here on Zoom Daily. As you know, our interests are in what affects the people where they are, and this is what President Hakainde is doing, relaunching the COVID-19 vaccination campaign. As you see, the nursing staff there wanting to get a photo moment with the president. So So we are coming to you live from the Olympic Youth Development Center in Lusaka, Zambia. This is Zimbabwe Daily, and we are following proceedings at the relaunch of the COVID-19 vaccination campaign right there in Zambia. President Hichilema Hakainde leading in that campaign, as you've heard him speaking at different conferences, that he has been vaccinated, his family has been vaccinated, and their drive is to ensure that everybody is safe from COVID-19. That has come, it has ravished our societies, and people are beginning to learn how to live in a COVID-19 society. And as you can see, all people around him, they are putting on masks, and the message continues to go out that people must put on their face masks, they must sanitize, they must practice social distancing, which I can see is a major challenge here in Africa. People just cannot really keep their distance. So that aspect still needs to be worked on, but we see the relaunch of the COVID-19 vaccination campaign in Zambia at the Olympic Youth Development Center. The urge is that people must get vaccinated, people must maintain social distancing, people must sanitize, and of course, we can only make it work when we all put in the efforts. I think the message continues to be the same, that people do not have to relax in terms of the work that needs to be done in terms of sanitizing, in terms of wearing of masks, which is a campaign that continues to go on because COVID-19 is there, it's real, and people are dying. We need to do as much as we can so that we stay alive and we are able to rework and develop our systems that allows all of us to be productive as we can. Schools have been opened right here in Zimbabwe. Our kids are going to school, and we see different efforts being put in place by different governments to make sure that we fight COVID-19. That is
Okay, you are going that side. Is there any more?
We are coming to you live from Lusaka, Zambia, where President Hakainde Hichilema is relaunching the COVID-19 vaccination campaign. They are at the Olympic Youth Development Center in Lusaka, and we have seen different efforts being put in place to ensure that the Zambian community is safe. We heard from the USAID, they've announced that 6.7 million from the American Rescue Plan for strengthening the Zambian's government's response to the pandemic. We've seen them announcing another 18.5 million in addition to support the people of Zambia, including the fight against COVID-19. So this pandemic has generated new challenges for the global response in terms of HIV and AIDS, malaria, etc., because so many resources were channeled towards COVID-19 over and above the need for the HIV and AIDS and malaria programs that were going on in the different countries, especially in Southern Africa. So we've seen the Zambian government getting an additional 9.6 million from the same American Rescue Plan to help mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on HIV and AIDS programs in Zambia. And we've seen that the United States has provided more than $734 million to fight HIV in Zambia. That is since 2020. So funds are being made available to that country in order to support the efforts that are taking place. So COVID-19 is coming in a backdrop of other compounding challenges. So we have seen all those development partners coming on board. We continue to see the president go around on different stands, different exhibition stands, and getting an understanding of how each organization, each institution is working towards the a selfie moment there. Everybody wants to get a picture with the recently elected president of Zambia.
Tour of vaccination sites here in the main arena, and surrounded by many health experts that are breaking down matters to him. Very shortly, he will get into the VIP tents, but still a few more matters for him to attend to.
Okay.
Acquaint himself with what is going on for the we'll say, let's welcome. Shall we all be standing? We shall all remain standing. May we all remain standing. for the singing of the National Anthem, and it will be led by the Zambia Police Brass Band. As we remain standing, I will now invite State House Senior Chaplain, Reverend Atlas Simukama, to come and lead us in an opening prayer. Shall we pray? O God, the Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the living God, we lift up our hands this morning and begin to exalt your name for another quarter of this year. We thank you, Lord, for the breath of life in the midst of this deadly pandemic. We are so grateful to you, Lord, as a nation, for preserving us during this struggling season of COVID-19 in Jesus' name. By your amazing grace today, we are gathered here to witness and indeed participate in the official relaunch of COVID-19 vaccination campaign by our Republican President taking place this morning on the grounds of OYDC. We appreciate you, Lord, especially for our leaders for taking up the lead in the exercise to fight this very ugly pandemic. Father, we commit all health workers in our country, especially the frontliners across all ministries, into your capable hands, and together we come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need like this one. Help us, Lord, as a nation to overcome this pandemic, as we give glory to your holy name, through Christ Jesus our Lord. Amen. Thank you very much, and we may be seated. Thank you very much. We may be seated. This is the relaunch of the COVID-19 vaccination campaign ceremony. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the Acting Chief Justice, Honorable Mr. Justice Malcolm Sonda, State Council, the first Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Attractor Sangano, the Minister of Health, Honorable Mrs. Silvia T. Masero, MP, the Minister of Lusaka Province, Honorable Mrs. Shiel Muliata, MP, Cabinet Ministers present, the Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet Administration, Mr. Patrick Kangwa, the Mayor of the Greater City of Lusaka, Her Worship, Ms. Chilando Chitangala, their Royal Highnesses, our traditional leaders present, distinguished members of Parliament present, UPND Alliance partners, leaders of political parties present, the United Nations Resident Coordinator, Dr. Kumba Mogadio, members of the Diplomatic Corps, corporate and partners present, members of the press, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's an important occasion at which I'm privileged to have been given and afforded the opportunity to be your director of ceremony. My name is Franklin Temple Jr. from the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation. And if I stood here pretending that this is business as usual, I'll be doing just that, pretending it is business as usual. I'm really honored, Your Excellency, to be your master of ceremony this afternoon. And on behalf of my colleagues, allow me to congratulate you once again on your election as the country's 7th Republican president. And it has been very clear from your sentiments, Your Excellency, that you recognize that a country that is not up to scratch with its health status is a country that is destined for trouble. In fact, at the United Nations General Assembly, you indicated that whereas the West was sufficiently able to vaccinate its people, so to speak, this part of the world was lagging behind. And if I remember, you said, well, you can't vaccinate your people, but for as long as we lag behind as a continent, our situation might mutate into something even more grave. Another point, in my own little world, I thought you'd even add, you know, when a Zambian wants to emphasize the point, they didn't say something like, oh, watch on. In other words, you were prodding the world to consider Africa, and of course, speaking for the country, to help it ramp up its vaccination. The current status is not encouraging at all. And again, this is something you referred to in your first press briefing, where you indicated that about only 3% what your government intends to have in as far as ensuring that there is health for all is concerned. But of course, the experts are here to give us more breakdown in as far as this fight is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the first of the president's public assignment, so to speak. And what better way of starting than on emphasis on health? I think the president deserves a round of applause. Your Excellency, it is serious business, but it is also business that is laced with entertainment. And without much ado, I will invite on stage the organized family to help us kickstart the entertainment bit. We will also have the Lusaka Province Minister make welcoming remarks as provincial minister. We'll be hearing from the Minister of Health, who must be very, very concerned at the current situation.
Social distancing, at least 1 meter apart. Ivale maski paka mada waisi usaseruka munsabato. Kisambe kumanja, ana haidi ni sobo. Ukasomona uwete mula, faka yobo konja pakama. Handi sanitizer, kati kuile sobo. Self-quarantine, tikale kunyumba. Mafasi kondakita, nabataiva. Otifake namba ya bantu mafasi kulingana na lamulo. Tichite disinfect, kunyumba ku ofesi. Mr. Loverman, hapa tumakisi kulibe. Kosa mbele la lamulo, siku za titaniza. Katikale masoda, timenyange na coronavirus. Social distancing, at least 1 meter apart. Ivale maski paka mada waisi usaseruka munsabato. Kisambe kumanja, ana haidi ni sobo. Ukasomona uwete mula, faka yobo konja pakama. Handi sanitizer, kati kuile sobo. Self-quarantine, tikale kunyumba. Afakira momenso kukama, kati ulipa abantu. Iye mamene corona, ingenea mutupi. Uko somola, kafifa kukangiwa kupema. Tumira 909, Roma izile. Kosa mbele la lamula, siku za titaniza. Katikale masoda, timenyange na coronavirus. Social distancing, at least 1 meter apart. Ivale maski paka mada waisi usaseruka munsabato. Kisambe kumanja, ana haidi ni sobo. Ukasomona uwete mula, faka yobo konja pakama. Handi sanitizer, kati kuile sobo. Self-quarantine, tikale kunyumba. Together we can fight. As a nation we can win this war, the invisible enemy, Corona. Kosa mbele la lamula, siku za titaniza. Katikale masoda, timenyange na coronavirus. Social distancing, at least 1 meter apart. Ivale maski paka mada waisi usaseruka munsabato. Kisambe kumanja, ana haidi ni sobo. Ukasomona uwete mula, faka yobo konja pakama. Handi sanitizer, kati kulibe sobo. Self-quarantine, tikale kunyumba.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a song specially made to address matters of health, and in particular, it is about COVID-19. And I think the gentlemen were not lucky because somebody was about to Sowela, the minister, local government, Gary Nkombo, and he was Sowela anyway. So let's continue with the business of the day. So more entertainment coming through. It's got to be said, we've got Biflo, a goodwill ambassador in the fight against HIV and AIDS, GBV, and of course COVID-19. We've got representing or coming from Chongwe, FRK, Solly Boy. We've got the UPND National Choir, and you were welcomed, Your Excellency, by cultural groups Zubani Moto and OYDC. And I must mention that, Your Excellency, you will have an opportunity to see Honorable Sylvia Masevo get vaccinated, as well as Senior Chief Luembe from Nyimba get vaccinated, Honorable Chipoka Mlenga, Commerce Minister, as well as Honorable Elisha Mutambo, Copper Belt Minister, and Honorable Kabuswe Mines Minister get vaccinated today. On that particular list is a frontline staff, 2 doctors, nurses, and other health workers from Charleston Health Facility also get vaccinated today, and representatives of the youth. And in fact, when I mentioned this list earlier on, the list of those that wanted to be vaccinated increased, which I think is something that you're looking forward to this day. Allow me to welcome to stage to make us all feel at home. And this time, I will ask the Provincial Minister, Lusaka Province, Honorable Cheryl Muliata,
to welcome us all. So please put your hands together for the Minister.
Guest of honor, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. The Minister of Health, Honorable Sylvia Masebo, MP, and all cabinet ministers present, Your Worship, the Mayor of Lusaka, all members of Parliament present, the Permanent Secretary, Technical Services, Ministry of Health, Dr. Kennedy Malama, and all permanent secretaries present. The UN Resident Coordinator, Her Excellency, Dr. Kwambo Magadio. The European Union Ambassador, His Excellency, Mr. Jacek Jagoski. Your Excellencies, the ambassadors and high commissioners, the lead civil society chairs, senior government officials, cooperating partners, distinguished invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is my singular honor and privilege to welcome you all to Lusaka province for the COVID-19 vaccination relaunch here at OYDC. As a province, we are delighted to host this historical event, which will see us improve the uptake of vaccines against the dreaded coronavirus. A special welcome to His Excellency, the President of the Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. We are very grateful, sir, that you found time from your busy schedule to come and grace this occasion. Your gracing of this important gathering is undoubtedly a clear show of your commitment to raising the bar in the fight against the coronavirus. May I also extend my welcome to our 9 chiefs for Lusaka province who went, signifying how committed we are as a province to fight this pandemic in a multi-sectoral manner. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, as a province, we have recorded the highest numbers of coronavirus cases with a lot of hospitalization and deaths, especially during the 3rd wave. Therefore, today's vaccination relaunch has come at the right time as the country is preparing for the anticipated 4th wave. We are happy as Lusaka province to host this high-impact national launch, for it will send a clear message to our communities on the importance of getting vaccines, therefore curbing the vaccination hesitancy that has negatively affected the immunization program. There is so much misconception among our people, and as a province, we will continue engaging with our communities in a multi-sectoral approach in order to create vaccine demand. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, as a province, it is our prayer that today's national relaunch for the vaccination drive, which unlike in the past, is being led at the highest level, will greatly improve the vaccination demand and uptake in the country. Allow me to conclude by welcoming you all once again to this very important occasion. May you enjoy the rest of the program, and may God bless Zambia. Thank you.
Another round of appreciation for the Lusaka Provincial Minister, Honorable Shell Muliata. And yes, the issue of resistance and non-willingness is what we're here to address at the relaunch of the COVID-19 vaccination campaign. And I suppose the word to underline there is campaign. This is a long program. It's going to call for convincing. It's going to call for creativity. It's going to call for a lot of initiatives to help the populace understand that it is important to vaccinate. Without much ado, I'd like to welcome to the podium huge supporters of Zambia's health agenda, and representing the United Nations family. And in this particular case, UNICEF has been very supportive. The Nations Children's Fund, of course, we do have partners like WHO as well. But from the representation of the United Nations family, we have the resident coordinator, Dr. Kumba Magadio, to make remarks on this important occasion. Let's make it easy.
Guest of honor, Your Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Nelly Kashumba Muti MP, the Acting Chief Justice, Honorable Justice Michael Musonda, the Honorable Minister of Health, Ms. Sylvia Masebo MP, the Honorable Minister for Lusaka Province, Mrs. Shil Muliaka MP, other government ministers here present, their Royal Highnesses present, honorable members of Parliament, Deputy Secretary to Cabinet, Mr. Kangwa, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Health, Technical Services, Dr. Kennedy Malama, and Permanent Secretaries from other ministries present, senior government officials from various ministries and agencies, including the Ministry of Health, traditional and religious leaders, members of the diplomatic corps, representatives of World Health Organization, UNICEF, and other United Nations agencies and programs, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Your Excellency, thank you for the opportunity to say a few words at this important new vaccination campaign drive. Let me take advantage of this occasion on behalf of the United Nations family to publicly welcome and congratulate you to your new role. The health sector forms a vital part of the overall Sustainable Development Goals, and the SDGs targets can't be achieved without a healthy population. And when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic, halting this continuing emergency will be vital to the recovery and growth of this country. It is key to keeping schools and places of worship open, to boosting economic growth and jobs, and to welcoming large numbers of tourists again. Your Excellency, through a remarkable scientific and logistical effort by the international community in response to the unprecedented global pandemic, the world has been to develop effective, safe, life-saving vaccines that offer significant protection against the COVID-19 disease. Even better, through the biggest global logistical effort ever seen, these vaccines have been produced and delivered to countries across the world. In the space of a year, we've gone from 0 vaccines to more than 6 billion shots in people's arms. It's quite clear that these are safe and effective, and countries with widespread vaccination rates are seeing COVID-19 cases become much less deadly, and societies and economies open up. Unfortunately, here in Africa, we still have a long way to go in terms of the number of people vaccinated. Your Excellency, We have seen the rates of vaccination ramp up over the last few weeks, even as deliveries to the country have increased as well, notably through donations made via COVAX facility, through the African Union Vaccine Acquisition Trust, and through direct donations. Zambia now has more than 430,000 fully vaccinated adults, including many health workers, religious leaders, teachers, and other frontline workers. Each one of these doses will give vital protection from this killer virus. The vaccine gives you protection in potential future waves, reduces your chances of infecting others, and drastically reduces your chances of serious infection and death. And they are free to all adults in Zambia. What an opportunity. Behind a successful vaccination campaign, there are many actors and many efforts, including the generous support of cooperating partners. Together, we are working to support a stronger cold chain system, to promote vaccine messaging and sensitize populations, to train health workers, and to keep essential health services going. The United Nations family is playing a key supporting role, both in endorsing and approving that vaccines are safe, in bringing them into the country, and in supporting the strengthening of the delivery system, and in risk communication and community engagement. Let me particularly mention UNICEF, who have done so much to bring these vaccines to Zambia, and also support the government with this new campaign push, and the World Health Organization for their constant technical support. No one will be safe until everyone is safe. So we need to push further to ensure everyone gets the protection they need. Your Excellency, to Zambians, my message is very clear. Please get vaccinated and continue to practice the 5 golden rules of COVID-19 prevention. We've lost too many dear members of our families and society. Roll up your sleeves, protect yourself, protect your community. COVID-19 is real, but here is protection available for you now. Let me thank you, Your Excellency, President Hichilema, for your personal advocacy in favor of vaccinations, which sends a powerful message to all citizens of this country. Thank you as well to those who publicly today will be rolling up their sleeves and leading by example, and to those who will be returning to their families and communities and persuading them to get vaccinated for protection before any new wave of infections begins. As the United Nations, we pledge our continued support to the government of the Republic of Zambia, and particularly the Ministry of Health, to ensure a successful rollout of these safe and life-saving vaccines. I thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, like stated earlier, this occasion calls for creativity, and this is why in the mix of it all, works that have been done by the artists, by musicians. Now, Your Excellency, I'm sure that you agree with me that no idea is too small or too big to try and make this to work. Zambians love football. This is just an idea. And I know that it's voluntary, but imagine if for the soccer-loving Zambian, for them to enter the stadium, they needed to show proof that they were vaccinated. Wouldn't that be a great idea, Your Excellency? I know that as you sit there, on your left, there must be some nostalgic feeling that you have, because in there, in that stadium over there, were a roaring 60,000 people welcoming you to the presidency. Let's give that moment a round of applause. And the same numbers, Your Excellency, or equal, because maybe you're a bigger crowd puller. because we need to start winning more as a national team. But this time there's enthusiasm. As Zambia plays Equatorial Guinea this weekend, there'll be a lot of numbers there. But maybe it's a bit, I don't know whether we're a bit too late, but those numbers could be targeted for vaccination. It's just an idea, and I'm pretty sure that it can help in ramping up the numbers. So 60,000 in there, we've got Ndola, we've got all these other places where Zambians go to pray, and they pray football. So I guess the rest can be worked on. At this point, we will get straight into some entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, B-Flow is one gentleman that is a goodwill ambassador in the fight against HIV and AIDS, GBV, COVID-19. And he takes up the stage to showcase what he does best in spreading messages of health. Put your hands together for B-Flow.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm an artist, I have to be a bit louder. Good morning. Mwashibukeni. Mwabugabuti. Muzwira chwani. Mwakabwanji. Nice one. All protocols observed. Mr. President, I stand here in my capacity as a goodwill ambassador in the fight against HIV, AIDS, COVID-19, and gender-based violence. And my name is B-Flow. This is a very important day for all of us as Zambians. And personally, as an artist, as an activist, as a goodwill ambassador, and as a human rights defender, health is at the center of my work, and that's why the right to health is one of the rights that I advocate for and that I always try my best to defend. It's actually part of the reason my friends and I went to protest in the bush last year, because we believe that not enough was being done to improve the health sector of our country. So to see what's being done today gives me great delight to know that there is political will, as well as the willingness by many stakeholders, including the different partners that are working with the Ministry of Health, to ensure that Zambians get vaccinated. It is sad to note that only about 4% of the population are vaccinated today, and therefore, as an artist, I want to pledge my support to this cause by ensuring that I use my platform and my voice to advocate for more vaccinations and to make sure that we can reach our target of at least 30% vaccinations to the Zambian people by December 2021. Unomwaka, do you agree? Do you agree that we can reach that target? If you agree with me, you can put your V in the air, V for vaccine. Somebody put your hand up like this. V in the air if you believe that all Zambians should get vaccinated. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President. It's good to see that you're also putting your V in the air. All right. So I'm one of those people that were also skeptical about getting the vaccine because of the myths and misconceptions. Maybe I should even switch to Nyanja. Na inenenzoepa kuti I vaccine, amana ma vaccine, yena ngwezo kambatia hii, wafuna chape kukupa yani. Other people are saying ya makorona, ni matende ya wazungu, chakuti na chakuti. But I looked at my own environment and I lost a lot of people in my family in the month of June. And from that moment onwards, I made it a point that I also had to get vaccinated, and I got vaccinated. You too should get vaccinated. Zambia, let's get vaccinated. Lusaka, doesn't matter in kama ke Lusaka. Posepo wafika. Sanitizer, ndekukoselesha ndekupela energizer. Shukuru na bambuya, tubasaka mane bose botunya. na Zambia twalite mu kupepa nomba pata twakumane mu mabumba mu self-isolation. Everybody tule isakamana social distancing tule isakamana social distancing tule isakamana no more handshakes social distancing tule isakamana hugging social distancing tule isakamana. Pakwingira hand washing. Visit the ATM. Sunge wino ine umwe owandi Jamalwele yo mwalo chandi Ule isunga wino we munandi Jamalwele yo sene bawandi Ule isakamana Sana social distancing Ule isakamana Social distancing Ule isakamana Social distancing Ule isakamana Social distancing. One, two. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thanks to UNICEF and the British High Commission for partnering with the Ministry of Health to make sure that more people get vaccinated. Zambia, let's get vaccinated now and today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
B-floor, ladies and gentlemen. B-floor began for show up in as far as the health facilities are concerned, because the president is watching. Ladies and gentlemen, the Minister of Health, Mrs. Sylvia T. Masebo, a big hand.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Your Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, all protocols observed, allow me to proceed and allow me to adopt all the excellencies, the honorables present that were recognized by the Master of Ceremonies and my dear sister, the Provincial Minister, having been adopted by myself. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you, Your Excellency, to this important event where you are relaunching the COVID-19 vaccination campaign for our country. Your Excellency, following you appointing me as Minister of Health, and by the way, you appointed me on the 7th, and today is the 7th, so it's exactly 1 month. It became very clear from the outset that there were a number of issues that required immediate attention in order for us to begin to meet the expectations of our people, the people who put us in power. Your Excellency, you've already provided direction for the health sector, which is based on attaining universal access to quality healthcare services. You have directed us as a sector to immediately embark on the crusade to rebuild confidence in the health sector. Your Excellency, I'd like to assure you that we are already taking necessary steps to ensure that we begin to improve the health of our people by addressing the various health challenges we face as a country. It is evident that the COVID-19 pandemic had taken a very heavy toll on the healthcare services, on the healthcare service system, and this required renewed energy, focus, and strategy. In this regard, Your Excellency, I'm pleased to inform you that the Minister of Health is taking appropriate measures to ensure that we are ready for a possible fourth wave of the pandemic in a multi-sectorial manner. We are increasing our capacity to respond across the various program areas of our preparedness, surveillance, and response plan. Your Excellency, the COVID-19 vaccination program is a key intervention in our response. However, as you have reminded us on many times, the program needed to be re-energized. I therefore take this opportunity to thank you for directing all of us to relook at the vaccination program and come up with implementable solutions. These have included raising awareness and creating demand for our people to get vaccinated and be protected from severe COVID-19 and death. Your Excellency, many of our people have had various reasons for hesitating to take the vaccine, and it is our role and responsibility to help them make that critical decision to get vaccinated. I'm pleased to inform you, Your Excellency, that I'm here today to lead by example, as I will be getting vaccinated today, the 7th of October, 2021. I too hesitated to be vaccinated, and indeed there are many Zambians like me today. I want to use this opportunity to urge them to reconsider their stance and step forward and get the jab in their arm, as I will be doing this later during this session. Your Excellency, let me also thank you for leading the way and announcing to the nation that you and your family are all vaccinated. I'm convinced that you have motivated many Zambians to follow suit. Let me also use this opportunity also to thank the Royal Highnesses present today. I'm aware that some are vaccinated and some are not. I'm very pleased today to learn that some of the Royal Highnesses that are not vaccinated will today lead the way. That is how it should be. Thank you, Your Royal Highnesses. Following today's national relaunch, provinces, districts, constituencies, wards, branches, chiefdoms, village headman areas will all be expected to conduct their launches in order to ensure that all eligible Zambians get vaccinated. Similarly, churches, the private sector, line government ministries, and quasi-government institutions are all expected to participate in this drive by encouraging their constituents to access vaccinations at the nearest vaccination points. Our healthcare workers have been directed to take vaccines closer to where our people are, such as markets and bus stations, by conducting outreach services. I wish to reiterate that while the COVID-19 restrictions have been eased, this is not the time to drop the guard. We must continue observing the 5 golden rules and encourage everyone to get vaccinated. Your Excellency, I will be failing in my duties if I did not share the good news with you today. Following Your Excellency's trip to the United States, the US government and its people has committed to support Zambia with 1.6 million of COVID-19 vaccines. These are of different types. The first one, the Johnson & Johnson, will be 336,000 doses that will be received, and the Moderna, 118,000 doses, the Pfizer, 580,000 doses, the AstraZeneca, 650,000 doses, altogether 1.6 million of COVID-19. Your Excellency, I want to thank the United States government and its people for such donation, as this will really go to help us in ensuring that more of our people get vaccinated as we await the December threat. It is now my singular honor and privilege to call upon you, sir, Your Excellency, to deliver your keynote address at this life-changing event. Thank you, Your Excellency, sir.
Please take your seat. Thank you very much, Minister of Health, and those others who have spoken before me, and the Director of Ceremonies. Thank you for guiding us. I wish to recognize the presence of the Speaker of the National Assembly through the Deputy, the First Deputy, the Acting Chief Justice, Minister of Health, of course, Cabinet members that are here, obviously Lusaka Province Minister, and indeed the Royal Highnesses that are here. Thank you for finding time, our traditional leaders. And of course, we want to recognize leadership of our party through the Secretary General and our alliance partners. And indeed, we wish to recognize other political leaders that are here. We recognize the United Nations coordinator who has spoken well. Thank you, madam, for speaking well. And obviously, other members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished members of parliament, the mayor of the greater city of Lusaka, and her worship, of course, Chilando Chitangala, and the Secretary of Cabinet and team, other permanent secretaries, senior government officials. And I did mention the diplomatic corps, but I find it befitting to reiterate and to focus our appreciation to the cooperating partners who are doing quite a lot, more than what is known, what is recorded. And we thank you for being present. And indeed, members of the press, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have gathered here, as you have heard, particularly and solely to reinvigorate our fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, whose first, second, and third wave took a lot of our loved ones. These waves have had an indelible mark on the social economic landscape of our people. As we relaunch this COVID-19 vaccination campaign, we call upon all Zambians, all of you Zambians, to rise up and join hands in taking full responsibility and control in fighting the coronavirus pandemic. No one will do it for you. No one will do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. You have to do it with your family. You have to do it with your community and those around you, including those that you associate with in the workplaces. It's very, very important because there's an assumption we make in our ordinary lives that somebody out there will do this for us. No, no madam, no sir, no daughter, no nephew, cousin. It is you, and solely you and others around you. It's very, very important that we take full control in fighting this coronavirus pandemic, this deadly pandemic, something we've never seen before. This is a matter of urgency, and it's indeed a matter of life or death. It can be both. It's a matter of life or death. We do the right things, we respect science, and take the necessary measures, we survive, we have life. We don't do it, someone will die. Could be you. Choice is loud and clear. And I think we must choose life by acting correctly to bring under control this pandemic. We therefore ought to rejuvenate our COVID-19 vaccination campaign, which is highly necessary to raise awareness and create unprecedented demand for key interventions so as to save lives is an absolute minimum from all of us. We must do this to save livelihoods, incomes for our people. And in doing so, we'll be saving the economy. We'll have an opportunity to engage in redesigning, in accelerating the economic development of our country. And for me, standing here and looking at that stadium there, and what happened on that day, what drove us to be inaugurated in that stadium was a ticket for change. Change for economic recovery, accelerated growth. For what? For jobs, for food, for our people, for business opportunities, education, dismantling the debt mountain, but more importantly, to keep our people alive, for our people to be healthy. That's what took us to that stadium on that day. But we cannot do any of these things if we do not bring the coronavirus pandemic under control. It will be a mission impossible. And that's how important today is, I argue. From the outset, allow me to state that vaccines work. Please. Vaccines work. We are all trained in some specialism or another. But for those people you see wearing white uniforms, generally, not all the time, white overalls or duster coats, whatever you want to call them, it is them who trained for many years, not a few years, for many years to tell us what we need to do in the health space. If you come to me, I will tell you how to work business, how to work the economy. That's my area. But this area, we need to respect those that invested years some of them years invested through courtesy of the poor Zambians who are dying of this pandemic. They have told us, science has told us, the vaccines work. Can we settle that debate from today onwards? Vaccines work. I urge you, therefore, to make that critical decision to be vaccinated. I'm not talking from without. I have been vaccinated, took the vaccine that required first jab, second jab. So I've taken the 2 jabs. My wife Mutinta has done the same. Our children have done the same. So we have provided leadership at the household. Please do the same. If all of us provided, thank you very much. If all of us provided that leadership at the household level, if you are the head of the family, you're the husband, and increasingly we know that a lot of our wives now are heads of our families. That is true, including single parents, mothers. If you took that leadership, then we shall be okay. Our job around hesitancy will be done. The rest will be to follow the 5 rules of science, to take the vaccinations, to acquire more vaccines. So we'll be ticking off on the checklist. I like working using a checklist. I encourage you to do that. You'll get more organized in your own life. So, let's move together. Fellow citizens, excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our government firmly believes that development is not possible. I have already hinted on that. Without a health and productive population. Not possible at all. Not at all. Please, again, tick that in the box. We need a health nation so we can be productive. We are determined to attaining universal access to quality health care in our country, as we believe that this is a precondition, as notated already, for social economic development of the country we love and the people we love. As your government, we see health as a key pillar to human capital development. COVID-19 is not only a danger to our lives and the lives of our loved ones, it threatens our very existence as humanity. Think for a moment. Is this a time that humanity will be extinct or is moving towards extinct? If we do nothing, it could be. But if we do something, we will save humanity. I don't know about you. For me, I have a lot of unfinished business for the youth of Zambia. So I still want to be alive to deliver my commitment, our pledges to them. I think you still need to raise your 2-year-old child. So let's work together to save humanity and be a responsible generation that took the necessary actions for the greater good of those who are yet to be conceived, whose parents have not even married yet. That is responsibility at the barest minimum. As part of our deep commitment to addressing the pandemic, as we said during the campaigns, and I'm asking journalists, civic leaders, take your notebooks, check what we were saying during the campaigns. one of the things we said is that we will manage this pandemic better when we form government. Now we are here, we are walking the talk. We said we will appoint a dedicated COVID advisor, and we've done that. We've done that so that the COVID advisor, who is knowledgeable in this field, will work with us at State House, providing technical guidance in our response to this deadly pandemic, working with the Ministry of Health, of course, not in isolation, and other agencies. Ministry of Health, as I walked around there, in the stands there, I was very pleased to see the diversity of stakeholders that are involved, that are engaged in this fight against the pandemic. We must expand, broaden, deepen that level of involvement. That's how we shall succeed. So the COVID advisor is threatening nobody's job, but is complementing everyone else's efforts. Very important. This is amongst, as I said, the pledges we made. And today marks yet another day in us reinforcing our desire to bring under control this pandemic. Fellow citizens, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on the 18th of March 2020, we know that our country recorded the first case of the coronavirus, or the first cases. 19 months down the road. 19 months down the road. We have a cumulative number somewhere in the region of 209,172 cases. And regrettably, we have recorded around 3,649 COVID-related deaths. These deaths are one too many. We must do something, including what we're doing today. During the third wave, our health system was overstretched, no doubt about it. Critical hospital bed space was in short supply, were in short supply. Mere oxygen, which we take for granted, in the form it's delivered to patients, COVID patients, it was not available. Sometimes oxygen was available, cylinders, pieces of metal were not available, and we lost citizens. Medications, personal protective equipment, PPPs, indeed human resources, were all stretched. Livelihoods of our people were affected. Job growth, economic growth slowed down, resulting in job losses. Of course, other forms of lack of opportunities. Fellow citizens, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I stated in my address to the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly, I was thanking the local leader of the UN system here for sending this new boy on the block to the UN General Assembly to address the Assembly. And the opportunity we got there, we used it in addition to delivering our message to the General Assembly and therefore to the world that this pandemic knows no national boundaries, and that the rich nations may vaccinate more of their people. But if we in the middle-income countries, or less indeed, less, we who are in the less privileged countries do not vaccinate sufficient numbers. And remember, we're human beings. It is true to say we are actually part of the animal species. If we don't achieve herd immunization sufficient enough, close 70%, we will negate the gains that the first world has achieved in getting their people vaccinated, because we will become hosts for mutations, and it will bite the first world. We made that message clear and appealed for more vaccines. and more support to fight this global pandemic. So we target to vaccinate 70% of our people by a definitive date. Please, let's move away, P-floor, from the 30% to target 70%. Then that's a reasonable herd vaccinations to bring under control this pandemic. I want to thank the global community for hearing our message there. And I was not at the General Assembly. I had nothing to lose. I had everything to gain. I said things that may have been taboo. I'm pleased that I said those things. Now we're seeing more vaccines a week or so later following us, more commitments made so our people can be saved. Thank you to the US government, the American people. Thank you to the European Union. Thank you to the Chinese government, who have also committed to supporting us in this agenda. Sometimes you provoke bigger boys and girls so they can say, hey, who is this young man provoking us? We can do better than his challenge. They're answering to that challenge. We thank you all. We thank the global community for that. But please continue supporting us and other countries. No point Zambia is vaccinated. If Zimbabwe is not vaccinated, the Zambezi River will not save us from more trouble. So let's vaccinate the world, but we have to start with our own country. That's our primary responsibility. And we're committed to doing that. We will provide the necessary leadership that helps in many ways. Again, as I was moving around there, I noticed something very important, that we in leadership is not just political leadership. Traditional leaders are important to deal with hesitance. Church leaders, members of our community, civil society, all have a part to play, and we should work together. If there's one that should unite us, it is this fight against the pandemic. This is the one. So I'm very pleased to see those numbers, that level of involvement in terms of diversity of institutions, university students, volunteers. I talked to 2 nurses who are volunteers assisting in this fight against COVID. We thank those 2 young nurses, female nurses, by the way. We thank those 2 female nurses, and they say to me, there are many other volunteers that are doing what is necessary. Thank you to all. I call upon all of us who call ourselves leaders to provide that leadership, starting in the family, at the family level. Now that we're pushing for demand, for the uptake to increase, it means we must continue pushing to get more vaccines and other requirements or requisites. Let's move towards that 70% herd immunity. Don't misunderstand me because I'm a cattleman. I'm not saying you're cattle, but we are, as I said, we are part of the animal species. So that herd immunity is important. I ask you, Health Ministry, to do a little bit more. Learning institutions, of course, hospitals, clinics, infrastructure in the health sector, but in the learning institutions around there, let's take the vaccine capabilities there. I'm very happy to see that the outreach goes to the markets. Let's take a bit more capacity outreach in the markets. I watch the trading taking place in the markets through television. Sometimes no masks at all, completely none. We can do more. Let's take this fight into the bus stops, taxi ranks, around religious activities. What do I mean? I don't mean vaccinations in the middle of a church service. No, I mean after church service. Big church gathering is allowed by science. After the service, certainly we can take advantage. Thank you, Master of Ceremony, for using sporting activities as occasions where we can take vaccinations around there. Thank you, sir. We take note of that. Camp meetings. I know my own church does a lot of camp meetings. Around the camp meeting, after the lovely hymns, on the sidelines, we can have vaccinations taking place there. The message is simple. Fact, vaccines are safe. They protect us against severe illness and death. It's time to push away the myths, misconceptions, misinformation about the COVID vaccine. As I conclude my remarks, allow me to take this opportunity to express our profound gratitude to our all-weather partners once more, who have provided financial support, technical support, material support to fight this pandemic. And to our own people who are donating. I know in the first wave, a lot of Zambians donated, and we would like Minister of Health, those donations to be accounted for properly so that nothing goes to waste. You know my personal views about abuse of public resources. That's a departure point for me. Absolute departure point. Very important. What is meant for the people must be used for the people. Full stop. Nothing less. I repeat, that's a departure point on my part. And I'm confident that you were carefully selected to go to that ministry to do exactly that. As a lady, you are macho enough. That was part of what I was looking for. Someone macho enough to be able to drive such fights. I know you still have the energy. Eligible Zambians, we call upon you, please get vaccinated today. If not today, tomorrow. Take your siblings there. Take your neighbor there. Let us not wait for the fourth wave to make the decision. Because what I saw in the third wave, a number of people, once they came from the graveyard, burying their relatives, that's when they rushed to the queues for vaccinations. Those habits must change. Let's be proactive, fellow citizens. It is now my singular honor and privilege to officially relaunch the COVID-19 vaccination campaign. I thank you all for listening, and God bless our people. God bless this country. God bless our region. And God bless our global village and save humanity. And we should do it. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, thank you very much. Another round of applause for His Excellency for that delivery. We can do better. Another round of applause for His Excellency. What will happen before we get a vote of thanks from His Royal Highness, Senior Chief Luembe, who is the chairperson, House of Chiefs, is that we will have the Minister of Health leading selected individuals, so to speak, in being vaccinated. So the Minister